I'm praying I can knock this out before it gets to another move here. In this case, the Mud Bomb. But look at that. I sack into the Meganium. That was the win condition, I feel there. Whiscash in the back. You gotta be kidding me. Meganium sweep here. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Ox here with another video. If you're new to the channel, we do upload Pokemon Go content mostly related to PvP, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Sir Creole, thank you for the support. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a new team that I'll be trying out, and this is a team that I have seen featured by a Japanese player named 2416 Rod, who uses this team exceptionally well, and I have seen videos on this on YouTube. However, they're all in Japanese, so I figured it'd be a good idea to just put out a video in English for some of the English viewers. This team consists of Alolan Marowak lead, which I think has a lot of play right now as a lead in the current meta, and then Azumarill and Meganium in the back. The Azumarill is running Play Rough and Ice Beam, so there is a bit of a weakness to Bastiodon for that reason. It gets a little tricky, and we're going to see some of the mistakes I make in this video. There is going to be 3 sets in this video, and you're going to see the progression as we go from each set as I get more comfortable with the team, leading to an eventual 5-0 in the last set against a lot of very bad leads. I think it's a solid team. I know a lot of you right now are still pushing for Legend, and I thought I'd put out a video on a team that is actually good enough to get you to Legend in case you want to test it out. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And without any further ado, let's jump into the first battle right now. Alright, so first battle here against Sainira, and shout out to my boy Michael for telling me that this is actually a local trainer from Toronto, so shout out to her as well. Registeel here in the lead. Obviously, very good matchup for Marowak. She switches out into Sableye, so I bring in Azumarill. Now, Azumarill into Sableye, this is a very bait dependent matchup, so don't want to get hit by the return. Figured this one's going to be a return, I shield it. Obviously, it's foul play, so this kind of flips the match now. And this is a situation where I felt like maybe switch isn't that important because I do have Meganium and Marowak, which both have very good matches against the Registeel, but it really comes down to what the third Pokemon is in the back. And I decided to let that return go through there, knowing it probably was going to be a return. And at this point, I kind of put myself in a position where I can't really win switch anymore. So I'm gonna get farmed down here, which is never good. So for that reason, maybe I should have shielded just to prevent this huge farm down, because now no matter what I bring in, I'm gonna get hit really hard here by foul plays. So I do bring in the Meganium here, and you could see this Sableye is absolutely loaded on energy, so that forces me to burn the shield here. And you can already tell that this was the first game I played with this team, so obviously mistakes are expected, but this is just a great example here of how I really needed to maintain switch, and I kind of didn't do it. Now granted, it is bait dependent, like there's nothing I can really do there. The opponent went for the foul play, I shielded. It's a guessing game and I got it wrong that time. But you could see here the Registeel comes in, I got off this Earthquake, it's not going to KO, so I have to sack here. I bring in the Marowak to catch this Flash Cannon, which was a great switch obviously, but they do have an Azumarill in the back, and unfortunately for me, Azumarill into Marowak is not a good matchup at all. So I'm going to end up losing this, and pretty much nothing to do. The opponent just outplayed me in the secondary matchup there. I think I switched very quickly, so it wasn't an issue. That was just a case of not calling the right bait on the return, falling for the foul play, and it pretty much flips the match. So very difficult there with Sableye, but that definitely did teach me somewhat of a lesson there for future battles. But again, it's more of a guessing game, nothing you can really do there. But shout out to Sainira, a well played game. And we start off 0-1 here. So 46 Politoed here in the next matchup. And this is a longer video. I know a lot of you guys really seem to like these longer videos, so I'm trying to put something out with more battles in it. Marowak into Ninetales, opponent switches to Politoed, so I bring a Meganium. And most Politoeds are not running Blizzard, so I wasn't too worried about it. So I go for the Frenzy Plant here. However, when they shield like this, there's really no reason to ever shield unless you have Blizzard. So I shield the first one, might have been a mistake there. And now I'm going to let the second one go through. Now if this is a Blizzard, it's obviously going to KO, and there's the Blizzard. So for the second game in a row, I get an amazing lead, and I blow the switch. Now, will I blow the game as well? We'll have to see. So I know now that because it has Blizzard Weather Ball, it really can't do anything at all to Azumarill. So I bring the Azumarill in now, and I'm going to take all these Weather Balls. It really doesn't matter because I'm just looking to farm as much energy as I can before throwing here. And I'm actually going to go for the Ice Beam just so that I could farm down with Bubble after. And I might take a couple more weather balls, but honestly it's not really a big deal here. I just want as much energy as possible on this Azumarill by the time I'm done with this Politoed. So this should be the last weather ball we have to take, and it looked like we simultaneously switched there actually, which is a bit unfortunate for me because now I'm hard countered again, Obstagoon into Marowak. However, I do have a shield, as does the opponent, so I'm gonna let this first Night Slash go through, and they don't get the boost, which is great, and I'm gonna throw this Bone Club here. So at this point, the Obstagoon is going to probably get to one more Night Slash here, and I'm gonna choose to shield at this point, thinking I can get to this Bone Club. And the Bone Club is going to get the shield. Now my switch timer should be coming up, so I'm going to look to switch into the Azumarill, which I know has energy, and throw the Ice Beam. So I do that now. We're able to throw this before the Obstagoon throws a move. This is going to knock out the Obstagoon. That is absolutely huge. And I preserve my Marowak a little bit for this late game against the Ninetales. So will I be able to come back and win this here? I throw the Play Rough that does a lot of damage. Marowak comes back in. Because this is a charm variant of Ninetales, I'm able to get to this Bone Club. Didn't think I'd get to the Shadow Bone, and we're able to KO with the Fire Spin there. Politoed comes back in, forgot about that, but we are able to knock that out. And I think that was a pretty impressive comeback after losing Switch there. So next matchup, another Ninetales here. This time it is a Powder Snow variant. So the opponent looks like they're going to be staying in this matchup here. Probably going to throw Psyshock, but it doesn't really matter. This is still a great matchup for us. And them staying in this matchup makes me think that they're probably weak to Marowak in the back. They may have double Charm on the team, for example. And here comes Politoed. So I'm going to throw this Shadow Ball, and then I'm going to immediately switch out into my Azumarill and see what the opponent wants to do. And the defense drops, so that's even better for me. Catch the Weather Ball onto the Azumarill, so that was perfectly timed. And now the opponent switches out into Whimsicott. So it was another Charmer, and I do still have that Marowak for this, so this is really good. And these Ice Beams are going to hurt, so as you can see, they're super effective damage. So that Whimsicott definitely taking a risk there, and I get to the second Ice Beam. They're going to have to shield eventually. And I have Meganium in the back for the Politoed, so this is pretty much game over. Letting that first Ice Beam go through is pretty much going to cement the victory for me. Bring in the Marowak here to catch this move. I know it's not going to KO, assuming it's Grass Knot. And now I'm able to farm down Fire Spin. The Politoed's going to come in. I'm going to throw another Shadow Bone here, and then I'm going to switch out into the Meganium. And this is pretty much game over at this point. We have a dominant matchup with a 2-shield advantage. We're going to take that game. So starting to get a bit more comfortable with the team. BCNR 33 GT in the next matchup, and I'm leading Marowak into Marowak. So this is the mirror match, and it looks like we're both running the same moveset. So it's very important to try and sneak in the extra move here, which you could see did not happen in this situation, but my Marowak has very bad IVs for PvP, so I'm usually going to win CMP, and you can see that time I did get the extra Fire Spin in, so I'm going to look to shield this up. It is a Shadow Bone, and now I'm ahead on energy too. They switch out into Azumarill, so I'm not going to throw my energy, I bring in Meganium. It's important you don't throw the energy there, because I am already down a shield, so very important to preserve the shield there, and the Azumarill takes that. I'm going to be able to farm down after this. They don't have Ice Beam, which is even better for me. And I should be able to get close to a Frenzy Plant here. And the Marowak comes back in. I'm going to throw this Frenzy Plant before they get to a move, which is huge. They're going to have to shield this if they want to keep the Marowak alive. They decide to let it go down instead. And they bring in Shiftry with 2 shields. I have a Azumarill in the back, so getting off this Frenzy Plant is very important here. Likely get a shield, it does. And now they're going to have to throw a move, also get to another Frenzy Plant. So this will knock us out. And then I have a decision here. I think I'm going to bring in the Azumarill here just to waste the energy on this Shiftry and try to force a shield as well with the Ice Beam. If not, I'm either going to get to an Ice Beam or they're going to be at 0 energy no matter what. So them throwing here, it will knock me out, but they're completely dry on energy now, and this makes the matchup a lot easier for my Marowak, which has energy stored. I'm going to throw the Bone Club here, totally expecting the shield to come up. And now I'm going to get a second Bone Club. Obviously, neither of these 2 moves are going to do much damage to the Shiftry, but that Fire Spin damage definitely adds up. And you can see I sneaked one in there, which is very good, because now I'm just 1 away from KOing, and they're unlikely to get to another move, so we take that game. And we're now at 3-1 after a rough start. So next matchup, 2-0 Butters here. And I'm going to lead Alolan Marowak into an Obstagoon. So this is one of the worst leads you could see. Instantly switch into Azumarill, and we see the Beedrill come in. And it's a Shadow Beedrill too. So this is a horrible matchup for Azumarill, obviously. And at this point I was thinking maybe I need switch advantage, because once you let the first Ice Beam go through, I realized at this point I could win switch, but I'll have to go down 2 shields. But that will at least allow me to get the Marowak away from the Obstagoon, which might be more important in this matchup, so I decided that's what I wanted to do here. You can see I do burn the second shield. I'm going to completely farm down, so I'll have a move ready now, and the Obstagoon's going to come in. So I'm going to go for the... oh no, it's the Azumarill came in. So I'm going to throw the Play Rough here. And this is actually not too great for me, so I switch out into Meganium. The Obstagoon comes in, and this isn't a good situation to be in, especially down 2 shields. And he gets the attack boost, so I just back out at that point. We end up going 3-2 in that first set, so positive start with this team. Lavin 88 here in the next match. And I think as the matches progress, I do get more comfortable with this team and understand a bit more, and the battles get better. So I'm going to switch down to Stunfisk here, and you can see I'm not switching immediately. The reason for this is not because I think Marowak is a good match, but I just was debating whether I want to switch into Azumarill or Meganium, and I think the correct play is actually to go into the Azumarill in this particular situation, because a lot of the times these people are running Stunfisk and Bastiodon in the back, and because my Azumarill does not have Hydro Pump, it actually ends up losing the match against Bastiodon. So it's very important that I keep my Meganium for that particular matchup. Now if I'm wrong with that assumption, they have a Flyer in the back instead, obviously Meganium's useless and I do need the Azumarill, but most of the time there is a lot of Stunfisk, Bastiodon teams right now, so that's what I should have been preparing for, and it looks like we're going to be okay in this situation, but we'll see what happens. Now I do have some residual energy here, which is very good because I'll be able to get off this Frenzy Plant against the Galvantula. Didn't think I'd make it to the Earthquake before I got to a move, and Frenzy Plant still does quite a bit of damage there. So Galvantula, gonna throw a move here. I'm not gonna shield this even if it's discharge. I kind of need my shield at this point, and the opponent switches out into Azumarill. So I'm gonna go for the Shadow Bone here, see if maybe I could get the defense drop, which would be pretty amazing for the mirror match that's about to happen. And we don't get it, but that still does a very decent chunk to the Azumarill. I'm behind on energy here, so I try to get an extra bubble, which I do right there, so that's very good. Helps me catch up a little bit in terms of the energy, and we go for the Play Rough here. So the opponent here decides not to shield this. Looks like they're gonna not shield anything, coming with the Galvantula to farm me down. So that's why I kind of needed the shield preserved here. And you can see they bring in Galvantula. Fortunately for me, I get off this Ice Beam, which is going to command the last shield. They are going to shield now. I would expect them to probably farm down here. Almost get to the Ice Beam there. I could have switched out into the Marowak actually maybe, but I'm going to have to shield here. And the Fire Spin did go through during their animation, so that was really good for me. And now it's a race to the last move. I do beat it to the Shadow Bone. This was likely a CMP tie, and we're going to be able to take this game. So 1-0 start here in the second set. Next match against OC Kook CO. And we're seeing Alolan Marowak into Swampert. So a very difficult lead. One of the worst leads. So I'm going to instantly switch into my Azumarill here. And I'm going to go for the Ice Beam. In this situation, I don't think I'm going to shield anything. And I'm going to allow them to bait if they want. So the opponent is going to go for the Hydro Cannon here. So that's a great call on my part. And now this puts me in kind of a tricky spot because I think after the Hydro Cannon comes through, I do have an opportunity to win switch. At the very least, I'll be able to get a shield here. So I did shield it up, going for the Ice Beam now. And I believe if I shield the second one, I don't know if I... See, the thing is, after the nerf to Bubble, I don't think I could win this anymore by bubbling down because I think he'll outpace me to the next move. So I decided to let it go through instead. And I'll bring in the Meganium. They should be drawing energy, so I should be able to farm down, which we're able to do there. Skarmory comes in, which is very bad. And we see Scrafty, so... This was definitely a situation in which alignments was very important. Winning switch was very important in the lead match. And basically, in essence, it was just a very difficult hard counter line for me to go up against because I was hard countering in the lead. Technically speaking, I would be hard countering as a switch with the Meganium onto the Skarmory. And then I guess the Azumarill would be aligned on the Scrafty, but I have to switch out of the Marowak match, so it puts me in a tough spot there. And there really isn't anything I could do against this particular lineup, so I was hoping I could maybe get some energy on the Marowak. You can see I actually won the Scrafty match, which is pretty impressive with Marowak and even shields, but nothing we could do, so I just back out. meplusl here. In the next match, we got Marowak into a Shadow Mawile. Mawile. So this is a very great match, and the opponent switches into Toxicroak. So I'm going to stay in here. You can make the argument that you could switch into the Azumarill, but honestly, Azumarill has a good enough match against Mawile that I'm not too worried about it. And Marowak has a very good matchup against Toxicroak. So I'm going to shield up this move here just to ensure that they don't start shielding to win switch. And from this point on, it's pretty much guaranteed that I'm going to take back switch. So Bone Club comes through. I can let the next Mud Bomb go through, and then I'll be able to farm down with Fire Spin. At which point the opponent will have a decision to make. I highly doubt they'll come back into the Mawile, so they bring in Altaria. I get off this Shadow Bone here, which is huge. I don't want to switch out of this matchup here because obviously Meganium super weak to Altaria, so I need to maintain alignment. And Azumarill comes in. So at this point, Azumarill does have a very good matchup against the Mawile, but I need to ensure that I have enough health left on this Azumarill for the Altaria in the back, because if I don't, it's pretty much game over. Meganium cannot do anything. So this is a game actually where Meganium is pretty much useless, and it's 2 versus 3. So I did shield up that Play Rough there. If they landed that, it would have made this game very difficult, so I needed to shield that. And we go for the Ice Beam here. At this point, they did save their shield for Altaria, but I have way too much health at this point. They're not going to be able to win this game. They're going to need like at least 3 Sky attacks, and I'm going to be able to get to this Ice Beam here. So this will knock out the Altaria, and we are going to be able to take this game. So nice bounce back from that rough loss in the last match. And let's move into the next one here against Brown Baller 10. And I remember this match was so poorly played on my end. So we get a great lead here, Marowak into Meganium, and they switch out into Stunfisk. So here's where I make the mistake. I switch into Meganium, and I know this is a Bastiodon Stunfisk line, and I'm supposed to bring in the Azumarill, but now I brought in the Meganium, and at this point now I realize I'm in big trouble, because now that I brought in this, even if I keep alignment, the Azumarill is going to lose to the Bastiodon, so the alignment actually isn't that important anymore for switch because I made this mistake here of switching into Meganium instead of the Azumarill. So I need to keep a shield advantage instead to have any chance of winning this. So I do get to this Frenzy Plant here, but this is not going to knock out the Stunfisk. And I can maintain alignment here if I shield, but I chose not to because my Azumarill is going to lose to Bastiodon, so I need the shield. So I bring in the Azumarill here to get an energy lead, and the Meganium comes in. So I'm going to get off this Ice Beam here. This will not KO. And then I'm going to look to switch into the Marowak after this. And we see Bastiodon come in as expected. So at this point I go for the Shadow Bone. Obviously Bone Club does slightly more, but I wanted to get the defense drop here. So I tried for that, and you could see we didn't get it. So that was one of the win conditions I felt at this point in the game. I need to get the defense drop. So I'm going to say this is what I saved the shield for. It's Stone Edge here. And I should be able to knock out this Bastiodon, but letting in those extra smackdowns really hurts. And the next Bone Club is going to KO the Bastiodon here, I think. But I believe the Meganium has a Frenzy Plant ready, so I'm in trouble here. And yeah, they're going to throw their energy, and I need to get to an Ice Beam here. But unfortunately for me, I believe that this Meganium is going to outpace us. Gets to the Frenzy Plant here. Probably Giant Energy at this point, but I'm so low in health that I actually won't be able to get to this Ice Beam. I do get to it, but we get farmed down at the same time. So I really hate how I lost that game because obviously I knew the team comp and I just made an error in the switch. So I think I played it well after realizing that error and putting myself in a position to win, but we did end up losing that. So GG's there. Next game, Deoxys into Marowak. It's a pretty good matchup for Marowak here, so I'm going to go for the Shadow Bone and the Deoxys here. Basically, once it goes past the 0 shields, it's a winnable matchup for me. So I'm just going to go for the Shadow Bone here. Don't really expect a shield from the Deoxys at this point, but they do. So at this point I'm forced to go into 2 shields, and I do have the Shadow Bone ready. So I'm going to shield this up. I know they can't counter me now, so I'm not throwing immediately, and they switch on to Umbreon trying to catch that move. So kept my energy, definitely very important. And now I bring in the Azumarill here. The Umbreon is going to throw Last Resort. We're going to go Play Rough. This is a very dominant match for Azumarill, of course, so no worries here. And I would like to leave this matchup with energy if possible for that Deoxys, which is also very dry on energy. So we could definitely take a couple of Last Resorts here. It's not really a big issue. And I don't really mind being low in health on the Azumarill. Also not really an issue. So I'm going to farm up a little bit more, almost at 100 energy. Throw the Play Rough here. This will knock out the Umbreon. And let's see what the opponent's going to choose to do at this point. So they bring in Venusaur. So I'm able to get off this Ice Beam here, which is huge. They did not try to sack, or maybe they were planning to, but weren't aware of the energy. So that's a huge land. They bring in Deoxys. I switch into Meganium here. And at this point, the win condition basically becomes, well, not win condition because I have the Shadow Bone ready, but I'm going to farm down completely here with the Meganium. Take all this damage because he is lowering his attack with Psycho Boost, and get the Earthquake ready. And now Earthquake should be enough to knock out the Venusaur, which is not out of move yet. Earthquake here going to be doing a lot of damage, and it's pretty much overkill at this point, so take that game there. And we end up going 3-2 in that set as well. So next matchup, third set, LinzoG, and this was by far the best set I played so far, and we get a Swampert lead here, so a very difficult lead. And I'm going to switch into the Azumarill, of course, as my safe swap. And it looks like every time I switch into Azumarill in this matchup, they always stay in with the Swampert. Now last time the opponent went for Hydro Cannon, I didn't shield it. This time I decided to shield it to Hydro Cannon. So already off to a very bad start here. This game is looking like an absolute loss. But let's see how it plays out. I go for the Ice Beam here. We get the shield, which is pretty amazing. And I get the extra bubble in as well. Sludge Wave will not KO, so I'm okay taking this here. And I need to beat it to this move. I'm able to get to the Ice Beam here. This will not KO, but the opponent actually chooses to shield. I don't think that would KO in that range. So they're going to knock us out here with Hydro Cannon. This is totally fine. And then I'm going to come in with the Meganium. Now, they switch out into Melmetal. So this caught me a little off guard. Obviously, Melmetal isn't a great counter for Meganium. And they go for Superpower. So CMP here is really brutal because I did not want to hit that. Could have farmed up more energy after the Superpower. But alas, nothing I could do. So this is going to be, at this point, Frenzy Plant would have probably KO'd with the double debuff. So really unfortunate that we CMP'd there, but it's totally fine. And the opponent comes in with Ninetales. So I'm going to switch on to Marowak here. I have the shield advantage, so I need to save the shield for the Swampert, which likely has a Hydro Cannon ready. And here it comes. I'm going to shield this up, and I will be able to get to this Shadow Bone. Now, I don't want to take any chances here because the game is pretty much locked. So I'm just going to go immediately for the Shadow Bone here, get rid of this Swampert, and the Fire Spin damage from this Marowak is going to be enough to take this game. So we start off this set 1-0 against a very difficult lead in Swampert. HuLinJian here in the next match. We see Pelipper. So another horrible lead for Marowak. I'm telling you, this is the set of really bad leads. And I'm getting more comfortable this time. So I was trying to sack here. Now I got confused. I was thinking it was 7 turns for Weather Ball, but it's 7 energy per wing attack. So it's only 5 turns. I got the 7s mixed up. So I actually am forced to burn 2 shields here in the lead matchup. And I'm like, no, there's no way I'm gonna get out of this. So throw the Shadow Bone, no shield. I know that this Bone Club is likely going to get a shield if they're not aware of the count. So I do get the shield. Now I'm going to look to sack the Azumarill onto the Weather Ball, but the opponent doesn't throw. So now I'm going to have to catch a Hurricane, and I'm still down a shield as well. So this game is going absolutely awful. Opponent switched out to Toxicroak. Now the only benefit of this is that I know I'm going to get a shield. So I go for the Ice Beam here. Had the play rough ready, but I go for the Ice Beam. We do get the shield. So at least we're even now on shields. And, you know, our health is sort of even as well. Sludge Bomb comes through. Not great. I need to come in here with the Marowak, and I need to knock this thing out. So I'm going for the Bone Club. I'm praying I can knock this out before it gets to another move here. In this case, the Mud Bomb. But look at that. I sack into the Meganium. That was the win condition, I feel there. Mud Bomb caught onto the Meganium. They switch out to Stunfisk. I have a huge energy lead here. Going to be able to get to this Earthquake, which is going to not KO. I still need a Frenzy Plant. Gonna eat this Rock Slide. I will survive. Can I beat it to the Frenzy Plant? Should be able to. I have an energy lead here. And I'm gonna throw right away. Don't want to take any mud shot damage or any risk at all. This will knock out the Stunfisk. And now it's gonna come down to this late game. And we're gonna see the Pelipper come back in. Going to go for the farm down. I'm able to farm down Vine Whip. Instead, I switch out to Marowak here. Farm down the Toxicroak. Huge comeback, down 2 shields against the Pelipper lead. I was very happy about that win. Ross RBH here, Marowak mirror match. So you know how this goes already, the shiny wins every time. So in this case, my 13, 14, 15 gets the extra Fire Spin in there. Very, very good. Gonna shield this up. They bait me with Bone Club, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna bait back with Bone Club. Very risky play, and they do shield, so we get lucky there. And remember, I'm ahead on energy, so I'm going to go for the Shadow Bone. thinking that they might think we're even, but they shield and they got on the extra fire spin, but their defense fell. And I get the extra fire spin in there, so this is just a back and forth match. I'm going to shield this up. I get baited with Bone Club. I'm going to go for the Shadow Bone, but they switch out prematurely into Wigglytuff. Bone Club probably would have KO'd because the defense drops, so that's probably why they switched. I bring in the Wigglytuff while saving the energy on my Marowak. Going to go for the Ice Beam here. Wigglytuff. Probably not going to get to a move before I get to another Ice Beam. Oh, they are going to get to one. I don't think this will KO though, so I should be able to get to this Ice Beam. Play Rough will not KO. And Ice Beam here going to knock out the Wigglytuff. Now I could have decided to let this go down, came back in and farmed with the Marowak, but I decided to go against it instead. Now I should win CMP here, so I bring in Marowak, and look at this lag. What the heck is this? I don't know what that was, but fortunately it wasn't lag enough for me to lose CMP, so we knocked that out. Clefable comes in. I'm going to throw the Bone Club here. Could have probably got the Shadow Bone if I wanted, but totally fine. Just going to instantly switch into the Meganium because I need to get to this Frenzy Plant as soon as possible. And we do outpace Charm. Frenzy Plant will be enough to knock out the Clefable here. We're going to take that game. So we're off to a 3-0 start so far in this third set. And the next match against CBGW Kaza 1, 2, 3, 7. And we're leading Alolan Marowak into Sableye. So again, another horrible lead here. And I'm going to look to switch into the Azumarill. Opponent switched onto the game. So this is hard counter city right here. Bad lead, bad switch. What can I do? I'm going to have to eat this Frenzy Plant, of course. Can I get to this Ice Beam? I am able to. This will not get a shield for sure. They survive it and they're going to farm me down. So that is not good. Now, the problem with this farm now is that they have a lot of energy. And even though I could farm down the Meganium, I have to be afraid of an Earthquake. This is a huge call. They did go for the Earthquake, so a great shield there. Able to farm down before they get to another move, which is also huge. And now the Sableye comes in. Gonna go for the Bone Club bait here because Shadow Bone would hurt. So they do shield. Now I'm gonna switch out into my own Meganium. And look at this. It looks like they're staying in. So at this point, a little too early to decide whether or not this is a good matchup for me because I don't know what they have in the back. But they're staying in. So I go for the Frenzy Plant. If they shield here, I know they're weak. They shield. At this point, I know almost 100% there's an Azumarill in the back. So for that reason, I shield here as well. And I'm hoping I could beat it to this Frenzy Plant, which I'm able to do. This is going to knock out the Sableye, and I'm totally expecting an Azumarill in the back. And look, there it is. Can I get to this Frenzy Plant? I'm able to get to it. This is huge. And now I need to switch on to the Marowak here. Now, if they have Hydro Pump, this was CMP right here because that was the 7th bubble. We beat it to the Shadow Bone. They back out. Take that game 4-0 against a horrible lead there again. Chimp Chomp 5 here in the next matchup. And look at this. We're going to lead Marowak into Bastiodon. Another horrible lead. 4 bad leads in this set of 5 here. I switch on to Azumarill, and I'm expecting them to switch, but they don't. So this is a losing matchup for me now. I do not have Hydro Pump. So you know what they say? If you don't have it, fake it till you make it. Gotta pretend you got the Hydro Pump anyway. So I build up past Hydro Pump, go for the Ice Beam here, and we get the shield. So that's huge. Now it would be like a super 5-head play if I baited with Ice Beam and I did have Hydro Pump and then I land the Hydro Pump now after getting the shield. That would be pog. Like, absolutely incredible. And I'm actually thinking of doing that, but I'd have to change out the play rough. But that would be pretty amazing. So just going for the Ice Beam damage here, you can see this thing farms me down. Horrible position to be in. I bring in the Meganium here, and these flamethrowers are going to hurt. I'm going to shield this up. So I was curious, why is this Bastiodon staying in? Like, I didn't understand what was going on here. So I decided to shield up the flamethrower too. And I'm just hoping they're super weak. I'm going to farm down completely. They're staying in. I'm at 100 energy on a Meganium. Unless they have a flyer, this is pretty much going to be very difficult for them. They bring in Metachamp, so they do not have a flyer. Look at that damage there. I'm going to have 2 Frenzy Plants before they even throw a counter here. They get the shield. I should be able to outpace this to the Ice Punch. I win here with the Frenzy Plants. I believe that might have been CMP. Knocks out the Metachamp. Whiscash in the back. You gotta be kidding me. Meganium sweep here after a hard counter lead right there. Boom. There it is, 5-0 set. Felt really nice about the team after those battles. Coming back from 4 very negative leads, and I think this team has a lot of potential. Obviously a very meta team, but very strong as well. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.